It's one of those days. So, welcome back, everyone. How was that? Did you enjoy that? Let me ask you this. Now that you've done this exercise, no, we haven't finished this exercise yet, we're just setting something up. How much clearer are you about the idea of values and also these drivers that kind of lie in the shadows, like the hidden values behind it? Is it beginning to get a little bit clearer now? Right? What kind of things did you notice? In other words, what kind of things do you get from people in terms of buying a car? What were the values? What were the drivers behind those values? And how do they mix? How did you get a clue about a driver from what we're talking about in terms of what they want and what they need and so on? Do you want to come up?
I found it was a nice trick to make a contrast between what they didn't want and what they did want.
Right.
And push.
So you see the law of contrast at work here? Go from between what they don't want and what they do want, and that kind of creates a drive in one direction, which helps you then attach whatever it is you want at the end of that, right?
I'm already orienting them against and towards something.
Exactly.
And then I sell the trip, not the car.
And he's selling the trip, not the car. That's exactly what we're coming on to. So this is excellent. Good job. We'll be coming on to that in a little bit, so well done. You're a little ahead of the game. Do you want to come on up?
Didn't hear that.
He sold the trip, not the car. So it's not the car, it's the experience of having the car, it's the value of having the car, rather than the four wheels and a bit of metal, right? So what else did you guys discover? First of all, as you're coming up, was it easier than you thought it would be once you got into a conversation, right? So the point of all these values and drivers and so on is to give your mind reference points for things to look out for. It's kind of like being a captain on a ship in the middle of waves, and you're looking out for anchor points like, oh look, there's the lighthouse, there's a landmass, there's another bit of landmass, and now you can orient amongst the ocean. If all you're looking at is the choppy waves, it's like, where the hell am I? I don't know. Does that make sense? Go ahead.
One thing I found really interesting was the dichotomy between what my partner came in to buy and what the kind of car that he felt he ought to buy versus what he was telling me really lighted up his emotions.
Right. Now this is very, very typical, right? Remember we talked about before, as a lawyer and a lot of consultants have this too, what people ask of you is not really what they want or need. It's what they think they need. They've already come to a conclusion, but they've not necessarily come to a good conclusion. And the same is true in terms of what people come and buy. They've concluded somehow with lots of interference. It might be their family tells them one thing and someone else tells them another thing, and another thing is happening here. And maybe a TV show, they say, oh, I guess that's the kind of thing I want. But they don't necessarily know themselves exactly what it is they want or need. And one of our jobs, whether you're selling officially or you're selling an idea, or like a hypnotherapist sells the idea of change or the principle of change, whatever it is, you're selling something, and our job is to find out what's going to fit their life. Because then they're making a good decision. They'll like you a hell of a lot more for it, which means the chances of repeat business or referrals and so on are great. And buyer's remorse goes way down. Make sense? But it's also actually important, though, to make sure that you find out what is it in the original idea that they came with that was driving them thinking that. How did they come to that conclusion? Because there might be something in there that isn't in the lighting up process that is of importance. So let's take the example. Someone comes in to buy a nice family car. Go get a family car. You offer him a Porsche. He goes, oh, fast, great. But if you've got a family, and he comes out with a Porsche, hi honey, look what I've got. No, it's okay. If we squash the kids together really tightly, they can just fit in the boot, and we can strap onto the roof too, right? So there is a check that has to occur to find out how they came to that conclusion, because there may be another set of values, another set of drivers in action that you haven't hit on. Does that make sense? Do you see where we're going with this? But that's an excellent observation. What other kind of things did you notice?
You are familiar with the Cayenne, right?
Cayenne?
It's a Porsche SUV.
Yeah.
Might want to sit behind.
Yeah, but I think I prefer the old 911s. They just sell me a 911, I'll say yes. Well, very small, like compact, I can put in my suitcase. Go on.
So he had just bought a car recently. So we went. That was a little easier because we went out that. But
It was
still,
fresh in his mind.
but still able to elicit all the kind of touch points and all the things that were valuable for him in purchasing that. One of which was that he has kind of a contrarian attitude about, like, just something to be distinct. So
Right.
Porsche probably wouldn't have worked,
Right,
nor a Mercedes.
right,
Too common. So,
right. So you had to find something which is a little different.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the color tone or the make. It could be like a unique niche brand, for example, something like that.
exactly.
So notice again, did all of you notice a couple of things? First of all, there are things that people light up for, right? And there are phrases that accompany those things. Would that be fair to say? Yes, no, maybe so? Would it be fair to say that when you've talked to them, just conversationally, it's actually easier to find those things? Because it'll be flat, 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 whoo, flat, 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 right? When you explore the things that light them up, have you noticed how they light up more? They get more enthusiastic. They offer you more information than they were previously willing to give you. Right? This is very important. When you're in the whole negotiation process and stuff like that, sometimes people come in all cagily saying, what do you want? I'm not going to tell you. You might sell me something. Right? I wouldn't say necessarily in most cases. It depends on the industry, the field, and the individuals as well. But in some cases, it's more prevalent than in others, right? In the car sales business, it's more likely to happen. But again, it also depends on the niche. Like, high-end car sales were more likely to be open because it's a very different sales process. But the point is, within your niche, you will know whether people are going to be more distrusting or not. So you now need to hit these buttons, if nothing else, to get more information so they're willing to share the information and give that to you. Does that make sense? As they get motivated by that information and by their values, as they get excited by it, they'll want to offer you more. It's just part of how it works. Has anyone here ever been excited about something? You're going on a trip, or you just bought something new that's really cool, or you've seen a film that really inspired you. Anyone ever had that experience like that? Just one or two of you? Let me try that again. Those of you who haven't had this experience, no, seriously, anyone have that experience where they really had something exciting like that happen? So how many times when that happens to you, do you want to go out and tell everyone about it? Right? You tell the people, oh, this is a great film, you've got to watch it, it's amazing, or I'm going on this holiday, oh, it's the best thing ever, I'm so excited. Why? Our emotions, our enthusiasm about it makes us want to tell more people about it because then we feel it more. Right? So you want to hit those buttons so you get more information as well.